Once upon a time, when I was 20 plus, not 30 plus as now, I was invited to speak for students. I told them about the best project of mine and the worst one. They were surprised, because all speakers before me shared only success stories. I think it's a problem. It's the reason why we lose confidence so fast. When you see all this successful success around, you think that you are not talented enough, or smart enough, or beautiful enough, or lucky enough to get the same. But the truth is, you see only one side of the coin. Very rare people share their failures. If we would know more about failures, we wouldn't give up when it's hard. The truth is everything possible. This everything just takes time. Your time, your sleep, your health, your life. But this life is so excited that it's worth it. So, I shared my failures and my life rules. It was mindset of mine, actually. I just didn't know this word at that moment. Now I know. And now I know that mindset is the key to everything. Mindset and creativity. Two keys that I want to give you at this channel. So, join and enjoy. There is a nuance. We can only perceive, in principle, what we already understand, consciously or subconsciously. So, what may seem to you to be off about nothing is most likely just something that you haven't grasped yet. Sorry. I recommend that you write some things down or take pictures and revisit them later. I also suggest keeping diaries or engaging in flow writing. Just before going to bed, spend 20 minutes writing down everything that comes to mind without worrying about wording or correctness. Let your thoughts flow without interruption. You'll find it incredibly interesting to revisit them entries in a couple of years. You'll think like, gosh, I wrote this! How smart I was! And yet acted like a fool. Yeah, it was my thoughts. You come to realize and discover many things about yourself. Sense. It's no sense in this life except of your personal sense of your personal life. Remember this. Search for meaning. Learn to think. Logic is a paramount. Logic, responsibility, and diligence are among the most valuable qualities an employee. It's crucial not to simply perform tasks mechanically, but to engage deeply, think logically, and be proactive. Furthermore, this is a habit. If you don't have it, you'll need to cultivate it. Seek logic in everything. It's always present. While opinion may vary, logic remains consistent, even if interpretation different. Exploring these variations can be fascinating. For example, watch some interview, look at the essence. What were they trying to say? Analyze it. What's bad? What's good? How can I use it? What are some other ways to look at it? Think. What would I say or do? Don't criticize. Think. If you are only criticizing, then you are still at the level from which you need to rise. You have to understand this. Even if you listen to some tedious lecture and think this is nonsense, there is nothing here, immediately ask yourself, what can I say about it? Why don't I say it? What would be interesting and valuable for me to learn? And what do others say? Hello Google and ChatGPT. In any speech, in any text, in any phrase, you can find something useful for yourself. Find the essence. You should have it as a sporting interest, like hunting or fishing. Listen from the position or what you can take out of it as useful. Even what the person is saying has no value right now. Find something you like, something you can admire in behavior, appearance, or just their courage. They came out and said it. Be sure to have something you can take for yourself. Always. Look for the meanings. Ask questions. Constantly ask questions. First of all, to yourself. Graduality principle. You've probably heard the phrase, or maybe not, but you will now. 9 pregnant women won't have a baby in a month. It's impossible. For this you need 9 months. And even if there are 9 pregnant women, it will not be a baby in a month. I hope you understand. Okay, so it's the same here. When you work, you will feel that somehow everything is slow, somehow everything is wrong, somehow everything is difficult. Maybe I should go there, you go, you will understand later. Just accept that this is the way. Give yourself 10 years. It seems like a scary number to you right now. 10 years is a half a life for you when you are 20. Just accept that this is a certain path. You will try, you will establish yourself in some way, you will achieve, you will be disappointed in yourself and people. It will happen, and that's okay too. You need 3 years to try out. 2 years to master the sphere that you like, to feel like this is it. And 3 more to achieve success and leadership in the sphere. And when you realize this is it, in 5 years, if you want, you will have everything you dreamt of. When we hire, the first key question for us is whether you worked while studying. On the one hand, I would like to protect my child from sleep deprivation at an early age. Let them study more while they have the opportunity and fun more from studying. But on the other hand, it's the surest indicator that a person is striving for something and will succeed. Even if you work for someone else, you work for yourself first. For your future, your experience, and your reputation. When I mentioned to my entrepreneur friends that employees often lack initiative, fail to engage in logical thinking, and constantly seek detailed instructions, they tend to fall into 2 camps. One camp insists, fire them without second thought. The other camp attributes it to the fact that I am self-employed, working around the clock, while employees expect weekends and evenings off. They see this as a normal behavior and argue that employees are hesitant to take on responsibility. They prefer to wait for guidance, considering it safer and more reliable, which they believe in the purpose of hierarchy. What's important is that no one asks employees to make decisions and take full responsibility. What is necessary and logical is to speak the language of solutions, not problems. What is the language of solutions? It's when you go to your manager and say, "Hey boss, there's some problem." You lay out the facts, explain the reasons, propose solutions, analyze the pros and cons of their options, and make arguments for which solution is optimal and why. The boss then makes a decision or suggests an alternative. he is responsible. But he is grateful that you did not hang another monkey on the shoulder, but instead worked through the issue and proposed a solution. Such people are appreciated and trusted. However, if you come with the word, boss, we have a problem. What should we do? And the boss is supposed to solve it. That's problem language. There is no value in that. And you will be replaced painlessly at the first opportunity. What's interesting is that those friends of mine who say, fire them, have either built their own businesses or have successful careers in reputable companies. They believe that the latter's version is a myth. Essentially, they believe that people don't change. We agreed that we worked even harder and slept less when we worked for someone else or in lower positions. We invested because now, remember this phrase, even if you work for someone else, you are working for yourself first. And foremost, you work for your future, your experience, and your reputation. If your even hard thoughts creep into your head, like, that's when I'll have my own business, or when I have a career, I try harder and be willing to stay up 24 hours a day. Have the courage to admit that you are just being lazy. Yes. You don't have to make excuses for yourself. You have to seize opportunities. You have to take an action. On the surface, it may seem like luck, but it's not. I like one phrase. I've been lucky. I've been very lucky. And the harder I worked, the luckier I was. Destiny and right path. What do you want? What do you want? You have to work where you would work even if you weren't getting paid. It's a famous phrase. But really, ask yourself, what do you want? And don't think in the future, I'll start doing what I like. It's like saving sex for your old age. It's Warren Buffett said, not me. For those tormented by the question of how to spend their time or money and what to prioritize, as well as how to determine what is your true interest and what's not. If you ever had thoughts that at some point you took a wrong turn because things aren't as perfect as you'd like them to be, know that it's normal. Smart and successful people always question whether they are smart and successful enough. Whatever you decide to do with these thoughts, whether to change your directions or activity or stick with it, believe me, life will guide you to where you need to be. Consider any success story, although I don't always put blind faith in them. I draw more conclusions from my own experiences. I haven't always navigated through life as confidently as a tank. I've faced forks, doubts, hardships, and regrets. But now, reflecting back, taking a flashback, I realize that each experience led to another. If it weren't for the first, I wouldn't have had the second, and so on. You can only connect the dots by looking back. Therefore, don't fret. Destiny will steer you towards the right path. All you have to do is try, seize opportunities, persevere, and then everything will undoubtedly fall into place. Everyone's path is different. It's impossible to repeat someone else's path. It's important to answer honestly the following question: what do you want? You need to know where you are going. Otherwise, you won't get there. Yes, you have to set goals. I used to dislike the idea of setting goals because I featured disappointed myself. You set goals, you work 24 to 7, but sometimes progress is slower than desired. When deadlines approach, you realize that while some tasks have been accomplished, they might not align with your initial vision. Some tasks remain undone, while others only exist on paper. This can be disheartening and stressful. It's crucial not to fall into the trap of relentlessly pursuing goals just to prove your worth, even to yourself. You don't have to prove anything to anyone, not even yourself. You can accomplish anything, but it doesn't mean you need it all. Don't avoid setting goals out of fear of disappointing. Goals must be set and pursued with the understanding that acceptance that they may evolve over time. Some may become obsolete, while new ones emerge. This is a natural path of the process. As life progresses, your goals will inevitably change, and that's perfectly normal. Life is easier when you think big. My new mantra: when you are worried about something, about being misunderstood, or something in your life being hard, you can print out this phrase and put it in a frame. Remember why you are doing something, what you are striving for. Paint a picture of a happy life in your mind. When you have a clear understanding of what you want for yourself and for society as a whole, life becomes easier to navigate. You no longer perceive difficulties, rejections, or failures as catastrophes. Instead, you think, oh, cool, now I'll overcome this and I'll be proud of myself for doing so. Always remember that you are laying the foundation for your future. You are not merely working, you are building your life. Approach your work with this mindset. It's not about being poor, miserable, overworked, and sleep deprived, longing for rest at home. No. You are laying the groundwork for your future. Keep that in mind. It's like the parable where one construction worker was asked, "What are you doing?" And he replied, "Carrying blocks." Meanwhile, another worker, when asked the same question, responded, "I'm building a temple." You see the difference. Responsibility is the influence. How do you envision the word responsibility? Like a heavy backpack? Like something bad heavy? I was told a cool phrase that turned my perception upside down. Responsibility is influence. Many perceive responsibility as a heavy burden. Whether it's earning money, starting a business, taking risks, or managing relationships, all involve a sense of responsibility. However, it's crucial to realize that responsibility is not merely a heavy backpack. It's influence. Responsibility presents an opportunity to influence work, people, relationships. When you are responsible for someone, you have the power to influence their condition, well-being, mood, and more. Similarly, taking responsibility for a situation means you have the power to influence it. You exercise influence. Make that association for yourself. Backpack may be hard, but influence is fun. Childhood is a statement of the problem. Life is the solution. Until you confront and work through all your childhood resentments and complexes, you won't truly progress. You won't go further than the line you are on right now. You are going to move forward, but slower than desired, encountering difficulties along the way. We have all experienced childhood, and it wasn't easy for everyone. I've never met a person who had a perfect childhood and grew up to be a perfect person, with all the right frames, etc. Some lacked money, some lacked attention. Some had overly strict and demanding parents, while others were overly indulged and unprepared for real life. So, it's essential to realize that childhood is a statement of the problem, while life is a solution. To progress, grow, and develop, it's essential to confront your childhood issues. You need to let go of complexes and resentments first and foremost. Often, certain patterns repeat themselves, both in work and personal life. This phenomenon is commonly referred to as fail into the same trap twice. Usually people think in such cases, God, why am I so unlucky? Somehow I'm not fortunate. And this, in fact, means only one thing. So you have not sorted out your childhood. You've got some things in your head that you need to get out of there. Read Colin Tippin's book Radical Forgiveness. Another important point to consider is this. If you feel like you're being treated unfairly or unappreciated, remember the phrase, the way others treat you is often a reflection of how you treat yourself. It's a common saying, but it holds profound truth. You must genuinely love and respect yourself. It's hard, I know. While you may have heard this advice many times before, it's crucial to truly internalize and realize its significance. If you have taken on the responsibility of earning money, it's essential to learn how to manage finances. You might excel as a professional, be exceptionally skilled, even compared to a golden antelope, and be a prolific generator of projects and income. However, if you don't keep track of your finances, you won't be able to accumulate wealth. The one who counts the money makes the money. Remember it. This serves an encouragement to learn about finance, economics, and even accounting. I recommend starting with the simplest of practices, tracking your expenses. Whether it's buying a pie or spending on transportation, make a note of it. While there are applications available, it's essential to develop the habit of recording your expenses manually. This practice can be challenging to cultivate later on. It's important to know that there's a distinction between being financially prudent, stingy, and greedy. One note. For me, it was extremely important because I didn't have this habit, and when I started the business with my partner, it was a big problem because we didn't have time to count money. And finally, we had a problem and we broke up because of it a lot. So that's why better to have this habit. Okay, moving on. Risks. Doing everything perfect is simply a habit, a skill that contributes to your success in life. This trait often manifests in your relationship with money. Have you ever experienced not being paid or receiving less than expected? Congratulations! You've encountered a valuable learning experience which can ultimately be monetized in one way or another sooner or later. This experience has led me to reflect on many aspects of life. In my observation, I found that boys are easy and simple. More simple than girls. Sorry, guys. Guys, you're blessed actually. I've also noticed that a man's relationship with money can be reflective on his relationship with his father. Of course, it was not only my experience. Somebody told me this in the beginning, and then I started to notice it. True this or not, I don't know. I'm not a professor in this, but it's really sometimes it's true. If one struggles financially, it may be beneficial to explore any lingering resentment with your father and work towards releasing them. Similarly, the dynamics of relationships with girls can sometimes mirror aspects of one's relationship with their mother. That's not my phrase. A smart person told me that. When I asked, How? How is it so easy? He responded, Yes, it's easy. That's why for me it's so easy to work with people. Because it's always like this. Understand this. For women, it's more complex. For women, everything always more complex. Initially, I assumed that girls have a reverse dynamic. Money represents the maternal figure, while men symbolize the paternal figure. However, a very insightful individual explained to me that while girls' relationships with men often reflect their relationships with their fathers, but girls should not have relationships with money. Money to girls should come through a man or another things. Even a business play a role a man, for example, or your job play a role a man. Wait, I thought that doesn't fit. That's not my scenario. It turns out that it often happens that the girl took in a male function, took responsibility for a family, friends, employees, mother, father, and everything. And then she can play out the same scenario as men. Only relations with men do not work out at all, which means that this scenario needs to be changed. Praise yourself. Praise is sweeter than honey. I didn't know how to praise myself at all. And it wasn't until a few years ago that I resorted to it and started learning how to do it. It's very important. You should praise yourself for everything. Perfectionist or not, you need to praise yourself. You've done something, praise yourself. Because you know what the trap is. If you don't learn to praise yourself, you won't learn to praise others. Your co-workers, your parents, your loved one. And that's a powerful support, a tool of motivation and influence. And people, when they support each other, give energy. And this is also very important. If a person is in a way a machine, then energy is gasoline. You don't learn to praise others until you learn to praise yourself. Don't forget to praise yourself. Really, it's important. People rarely praise others because they don't know how to praise themselves. And that's a problem. From time to time in your life, it will seem to you, when you try and work hard, that, well, just a little bit more, now I will do this project. Buy an apartment, a new car, etc. Or now I'm going to make money and then I'm going to take care of my relationships, family, health, myself at all. It doesn't work that way, most often. If you are doing well, your business is growing or your career is developing. If this flywheel is spinning, you are spinning in it. And it's very hard to stop or even to slow down. So, you must realize that you have only one life. You must realize that it's your personal story. If you want, imagine yourself in a movie, but not in a movie theater, in an auditorium. No, you are a hero of the movie. And that's a different approach. The hero of the movie doesn't whine or grumble or cry. He's not perfect, but he has his own principles, aspirations, goals, and he goes to them and he reaches them for sure. In this whole process, learn to appreciate it and enjoy. Think of ways to make the plot of the movie more interesting and fulfilling. Sports, hobbies, love. There is no freezing point. Just a little bit more and is a myth. Learn to live in the here and now and enjoy the moment. Enjoy your rest and fatigue. This is your life, your story. Ask yourself a question and try to find an answer to it. What do I get pleasure from? And repeat it from time to time. What do I get pleasure from? And do it. Pleasure is an attitude to life. It's a state. It's very important to understand what you get pleasure from. You don't have to make it your profession or business. Just do it for yourself. Something you really enjoy doing. Draw energy from your pleasure. Energize yourself and others. It will nourish you and give you opportunities. I enjoy theater, for example, and I didn't know it. I have tried a lot of cool hobbies like yachting, sport cars, and finally I realized that it's not nurturing me. It was just like cool hobby. But when I tried theater, I understood that it gives me pleasure. Of course, I did it for a short time, but now, for example, this recording these videos also gives me a pleasure. That's why I do it. And I think it's very important. Enjoy what you do. It's very important to have something that you enjoy because it's important to enjoy life. So enjoy life and live your life in the best way you can.